But I come to mind the Lord this afternoon. I understand the hour, the time. I understand that you all have had a great time this morning. The Lord has met you here in a mighty way. And if I know my brother, I know he preached. He's a preacher. He is a preacher. So I thank God for that. So I understand that, and I'm not going to try to worry you as if you've never been preached to. I know you haven't. But the Lord met us in unison in a special way this morning. Every now and again, He gives me a glimpse of what to expect. And as I was traveling to our service this morning, He kind of gave me a heads up that He was going to do something mighty. Basically, He just told me, so I'm going to meet some needs. So we saw that. We saw that this morning in our service, and I thank God for that. I'm telling you, Star of Bethlehem Baptized Pentecostal Church. Holy. Yes. I got it. If we did not have the Lord, we would be in bad shape. So we every morning when we wake up, we ought to give Him praise. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I know if I was living in Lexington now, I know where I'd be coming. This church has life in it. Yes. The Spirit of the Lord is here. If you don't mind, turn with me to the book of Mark, the 9th chapter of Mark. So this is what might work for you. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to turn this one off, if you don't mind. I'm going to try to behave myself and stay still. I'm trying to. Yeah. Y'all hear me okay? Yeah. All right. Now see, when I have a mic like this, I can do like Teresa. See, Teresa's a hands talker. Got hands. You that way too? I'm getting that way too. I have one of those things that goes behind my ears and mouthpieces right here. I'm new to all this kind of stuff. It's taking a while to get used to it, but my hands are free. I can move, motion, point, whatever I want to do. I appreciate that. Mark chapter 9. And I want to begin at verse 17. I want to read out a few verses. And I mainly just want to talk to you this evening, if that's all right. Mark chapter 9, and I want to begin at verse 17. And if you will, I'll read through a few verses, probably. Maybe do verse 26. And then I'm going to talk to you from this. And one of the multitudes answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. Now, just so you know, my reading of these verses is included in my preaching time. So I just want to make sure y'all open that. Which have a dumb spirit, or mute spirit. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him. He throws him down. And he foameth and gnasheth with his teeth and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. He answered him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer or bear with you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him, and when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him. And he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. Now, it's something when an evil spirit like that acts up in front of the disciples of Jesus. But this spirit acted up in front of Jesus. And he asked his father, how long is it ago since this came up unto him? And he said, of a child. And oftentimes they had cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. And Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirits, saying unto him, thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried and rent him sore and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, he is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. You may be seated. We see here in verse 17, the father said, my son has a dumb spirit. And that word dumb means mute, right? Which means he is unable to speak. Yes. And we see here in verse 25 that Jesus calls it a dumb and deaf spirit. That means not only can he not speak, but he can't hear. But I find it amazing that after Jesus says he's dumb and deaf, I find it amazing that somehow this spirit heard Jesus. Because he obeyed the word of God. But I'd like to call your attention to verse 23, where Jesus said to the Father, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Now, Bishop, I took it upon myself to do a little study and researching on this event and this passage. Of course, it's reported in other places as well. But my research and my studies tells me that this did not happen maybe as commonly as I read it. Right. A matter of fact, my studies and my research tells me that when the Father said to Jesus, if you can do anything, have compassion and help us, that Jesus kind of bristled a little bit. Like, what do you mean if I can do anything? If you can believe, all things are possible. And if I sit down right now, that's the thought I want to leave with us this afternoon. That if you can believe, all things are possible. Now, I'm not even going to try to pretend that I'm a mind reader and read everybody's mind that's in here this afternoon. But I do know what thus saith the Lord. And God has given me a little bit of insight. Somebody in here this afternoon, you've been dealing with some stuff. Yeah. Now, I'm not just talking about just ordinary, we all deal with something. Yeah. Amen. Amen. But sometimes maybe you all don't do it here, but some circles I travel in, they want to put pastors on a pedestal and act like we ain't never got to deal with nothing, and we never have no heartaches and no frustrations and all that kind of stuff. But I'm here, listen, let me be real. We as pastors deal with some stuff. I shared it this morning. I shared it the other Sunday. I reminded this morning. The other Sunday, my wife, sometime during the week, she spends time in Campbellsville during the week for her daycare there. She runs that. And so she stayed with her mother. So she had went back home that Saturday night with her mom and got up that Sunday morning. I got up that Sunday morning feeling all out of sorts and things. She wasn't there to aggravate me. She wasn't there to cause no frustration. So, I got frustrated at myself. Amen. My elbow hit something, knocked it out. Here I'm getting all frustrated. Amen. I'll sit down and shake this on Sunday morning. Praise God. I thank God that even though I was there alone, humanly alone, but there was a spirit with me. You know, I thought about the passage that talks about when the enemy comes in like a flood, but the Spirit of the Lord lifts up the standard. I was frustrated. I wasn't cussing nothing like that, but I was frustrated though. If I wasn't cussing, I would have been cussing, but I'm not cussing. But anyway, I was frustrated, you know. Something out of sort. And I said, wait a minute, I cannot go like this. I can't go and minister like this. So I asked him two things right quick. I said, fix me and keep me, because I can't keep myself. At the moment that I uttered those words, I hope the Holy Ghost brought this passage to me and said he would keep you in perfect peace. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Sister Jennifer, automatically I shifted my mind, the gears of my mind. I said, wait a minute, whatever I'm thinking on is not working. It's bringing me down. Let me think on something good. Let me think on something positive. I begin to think on the goodness of Jesus. And all that he has already done. See, my spirit did a helicopter. He didn't need no runway. He just always just lifted right up. Hallelujah. 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 But if you can believe, he says, all things are possible to him that believeth. And so I want to say to you this afternoon, just believe. Just believe. Just believe. I want to also want you to go to Mark chapter 11 too. There's a passage in there I want to read to you as well. Now, as I was looking over this, the Lord, I've been looking at this for 2 or 3 weeks, I guess. The Lord has just been, I meditate on, praying on, listen to the Lord. He's dealing with me about some things. He started dealing with me about prayer. He started dealing with me about believing faith. Believe faith, prayer. And I'm just going to share with you what the Lord has, I feel that he has revealed to me. And you can take it or you can leave it. That's up to you. All right. But here's what he said to me. He said, you've said it, and you've heard it said, that there's power in prayer. And I said, yes, that's a saying, especially we say over in the Holiness Church. There's power in prayer. But listen what he told me, though. Kind of stunned me for a moment because I never heard it. He said, actually, the power is in belief. He said, you can pray all day and all night and not believe, and you will see nothing. He said, prayer is a way of connecting with me. Like I said, you can take it or leave it. This is what he told me. He said, prayer is a way of you connecting with me. Oh, hallelujah. It's connecting you communicating with me communicating with you. It brings a connection. And when that connection is made, oh, hallelujah, then what you have asked of me, you're able to believe it and receive it. So the power is in believing. Go to Mark chapter 11. I'll be done here in just a few minutes. We got here a little late, didn't get to eat, so you know how it goes. Mark chapter 11, let's begin at verse 22. And Jesus answered and said unto them, have faith in God. Have faith in God. You know, I've shared this with you before about your pastor. You know, when his dad was living, and I consider his dad one of my friends too. And he was a man full of truth and full of wisdom. And so he was telling me one time about this son, and he said he's just a walking Bible and encyclopedia or something like that. He said he's a walking Bible. I said, that was years ago. I wasn't even pastor then. That was years ago. But you know what I made up my mind? I said, I want to be just like him. I want to be just like him. But you know what? But it takes studying. Studying. And so Bishop, I also looked at this passage, this verse, when it said, have faith in God. I know that's what it says in the King James translation, have faith in God. But when I begin to look deeper into that, basically what Jesus was saying is have the faith of God. Have the faith of God. He had just cursed a tree. And the tree died. Jesus did not ask God to curse the tree, but he moved, oh glory. He had the faith, the same faith that God had. That's what he's telling his disciples. You got to have the faith of God. And here's another thing that he shared with me. He said, you spend too much time asking me to do what I've already done. But if you have the faith of God, you can speak. You can speak. He said, have faith in God, for verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he, what? Saith, not pray, but saith, shall come to pass. He shall have whatsoever he saith. He shall have whatsoever he saith. The Spirit of the Lord spoke to me one time. I forget what I was praying about now. He spoke to me and said, stop praying and start speaking. Stop praying and start speaking. Stop praying and start speaking. Most of the time when we're praying, we're asking God to do it. And when we speak it, we move into the faith of God, and we begin to speak to our mountains. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Saints of God, just believe God. Just believe God. Some of us in here have been praying for things that have not yet come to manifestation. And what do? We continue to pray, don't we? We continue to pray. And God is saying now is the time. Once you've prayed, he says start believing. Start believing. Start believing that you have received what you desire. Start believing. Start believing. Start believing. Start believing. Start believing. Believe the Lord. Watch it come to pass. Watch it come to fruition. Watch it begin to manifest. Glory to God. If this Bloomberg fella that was running for on the Democratic ticket, we all know he's full of money, right? We all know he got plenty of money. If he walked up into this church tonight and told us that somehow or another I've gotten your bank account number and I have deposited $100,000 in your account. And if he told that truthfully and we believed him, what would we do? We wouldn't run into our bank and try to check and see. No, what would we do? We start telling him thank you. Because we would believe him, right? But whatever God has promised you in his word, stand on that word and start thanking him and believing him and watch it come to pass. Just believe. If you can believe it, you shall receive it. If you can believe it, you shall receive it. You ain't got to keep praying and asking him and asking him and asking him, praying harder, praying more. Just start believing God. Believing God. Believing God and get yourself in the attitude of receiving. And if that means you got to open up your arms, open up your arms. If that means you got to stretch out your hands, stretch out your hands. Whatever you got to do, I'm given in position to receive what I have asked of the Lord. Whatever he has promised me, God will deliver him. If you can believe, if you can believe, you can have it and you shall have it. When you pray, believe it. And I tell, matter of fact, I told him today, sometimes you just got to act out the word. You do. Sometimes you got to act out the word. Just act it out. Act it out. Listen, it works. It works. And just act it out. I was in Haiti several years ago. I'd never been to Haiti before, but over there, we were doing, this is about 9 days over there. We built a house and visited homes. We had a couple of nurses and had some medicine. And we had a little food, rice and beans, stuff like that, leave with them. And they told me, they said, Pastor, your job is to pray for any affliction or sickness or whatever. Your job is to just pray. And so I was going about my business, walking next to the medical clinic we had over there, and 2 nurses come rushing out of the door and say, come here. So I went over to see what they wanted, and they took a little baby, just put a little baby in my hand. The baby, 4 months old, they said, it fit right in the palm of my hand. And they said, this baby is dying because it can't nurse. It's dying. Do something. That's all they said. Do something. I didn't have Bishop's phone number to call him. Didn't have nobody else's phone number to call him. I laid my hand on that baby's stomach. I said, in the name of Jesus.
Yes,
drink. Handed it back to the nurses and feed it. Came back a few minutes later. I said, what's it doing? They said, we can't get it to stop eating. Pray. And as you pray, believe it. Pray. And as you pray, believe. Sometimes we got to act out the word, though. They took me to this lady's home. She was an elderly lady in their age, older woman, and we were sitting outside in the dirt. And she told me through the interpreter. She said, I can't go to church. I would love to, but I can't walk. That's what she told me. She said, I can't walk. I can't walk. And all of a sudden, what came to my mind was Acts chapter 3. I said, you know what? I'm just going to act it out. Peter and John said it. Silver and gold that we don't have, but such that we have, we give it to thee. I didn't go through the silver and gold motion. I didn't go through all that. But I said, lady, in the name of Jesus Christ, rise up and walk. And when I said, I reached my hand down. She reached hers up, took her hand. The next thing I know, she's up on her feet. She's not only walking, but she's leaping. She's running around her yard, giving God the praise. Sometimes you got to accept the word. You got to act out the word. Next thing I know, they brought me to an older gentleman and brought him to, and every place we went, the crowd getting bigger and bigger. And and some of them trying to shoo them away. No, let them come, let them see what God is doing. Brought me to a man, I'm high in the spirit then, I'm feeling good. Brought the man to me, and they said to me, they said, Pastor, he can't hear. He can't hear. Brought him to me, and said, they do something. They said, do something. I didn't know what else to do. All I did, put my hands over his ears. Just like that. I said, open up in the name of Jesus. Took my hands away, and next thing you know, he's talking to the interpreter, and the interpreter is talking to him. Well, all I'm saying is if you can believe, all things are possible. Yeah. All things are possible. I know I'm talking to somebody in here this morning who's been dealing with some things for a while, and it seems like God is not hearing you. He heard you the first time that you spoke to him about it. He's waiting for you to just believe him. Yeah. Believe him and start acting like it. If it's a healing in your body, start acting like your body's healed. If it's money that you need, start acting like you already got it. You can't believe it. If you can believe it, you shall have it. I'm talking to parents that's gotten what children and not doing what they ought to be doing. I'm talking to a wife, husband that's not doing like he ought to be doing. I'm talking to a husband whose wife is not doing like she ought to be doing. All I'm saying is once you pray to God about it, you start praising him as if that husband is a king. You start praising God as if that wife is a queen. You start praising God as if those children are princes and princesses. You start praying and asking as if they are what you have desired God for, ask God for them to be. Start treating them like that. I believe in God. That husband might still be cussing you out, but you treat him like a man of God. Why? Because I believe in God. That wife might still be acting up, but you treat her like a woman of God. Why? Because I believe. Hallelujah. I believe my children. I believe my children are going to be walking with the Lord. I believe it. I believe it. This is my own personal testimony there. My children, once they got grown, they decided that the way we did church was not for them. They decided they didn't want to go to church. They didn't want to go to church. But every time I see my girls, I still give them a kiss on the forehead, give them a kiss on the cheek. Every time I see my son, wrap my arms around him and hug him and tell him that I love them. Treat them as if they were just a saved, sanctified, and filled with hallelujah. Someone the other day said, Daddy, somebody in my wife's family that has a sickness, she said, Daddy, I feel like God wants me to go and minister. I said, honey, you go in the name of the Lord. Go in the name of the Lord. Don't tell me what praying and believing God will accomplish. I know what it will accomplish. Well, there was a moment of time she wasn't even thinking about doing the will of God. But look at it now. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. You ought to slip up your hand and say, I shall have whatever I desire from the Lord. I shall have whatever I desire from the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm not talking about out the wild. I'm not talking about down the road. I'm not talking about years later. I'm talking about right now. I'm doing it right now. Oh, I believe God. I believe God. And I believe this word. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. A little tired when I walked up in here, but I'm feeling good right now. I feel like a preach on. I'm going to sit there, but God bless you. But God bless you. Just believe the Lord. Believe Him. Take Him at His word. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Every now and then, you ought to find a promise that goes along with what you need.